Hello everybody, welcome to week 8, which is our final week in our course on the history of artificial intelligence. And this week brings us really to the biggest question of the entire course. So over the past 7 weeks, we have traced AI from ancient dreams of artificial life to symbolic reasoning, expert systems, machine learning, deep learning, and popular culture. Now we arrive at the present with a look towards the future. But this week is not really just about predicting the future. It's also about judgment and evaluation and a reflection upon the history that has led to this moment. We're going to be asking questions this week like, what kind of future is AI pushing us towards? And how should history shape the way that we think about it? And that's why I call this week the posthuman question. Not because the future is already decided, and not because human beings are being replaced, at least hopefully they're not. I call it the posthuman question because AI is forcing us to ask whether or not we are actually entering a new stage in the relationship between intelligence, power, institutions, and also human identity. In other words, this week asks us not only what AI may become in the future, it's also asking a more significant question for the human race. What might humans become in the future alongside AI? And that's exactly why I believe the history of AI matters. Without history, it becomes very easy to mistake AI hype for inevitability, novelty for wisdom, and also technical power for moral progress. Now, our core readings this week present 3 very different visions and versions of the AI future, and I chose them because they disagree with each other on what the future might begin. Yuval Harari gives us the most cautionary perspective about the future of AI. He argues that AI is dangerous, not mainly because of science fiction fantasies about killer robots, but because he thinks that AI might destabilize truth, democracy, and human control through powerful information systems, propaganda, and also surveillance. Then we have a reading by Dario Amodei. And Dario and his sister Daniela, they are the founders of Anthropic. And Dario suggests a very hopeful perspective about the future of AI. In Machines of Loving Grace, he imagines a future in which advanced AI could help produce extraordinary breakthroughs in medicine, biology, knowledge, and the result will be a flourishing of the human race. But he also makes it clear that these outcomes will only happen if human beings shape the technology responsibly. The final of our visionaries this week is Ray Kurzweil, and he presents the most transformative vision of all. He argues that exponential growth in computing will continue in the future, and that AI will actually surpass human intelligence. The result is that humans and machines might actually merge more deeply through forms of augmentation, and this will move intelligence beyond our current biological limits. So, taking these 3 visionaries together, it shows us that the future of AI is not one single predefined path. It is a contested space shaped by competing values, fears, hopes, and assumptions about what intelligence is and also what human beings should strive to become. I have 4 learning paths for you to choose from this week. The first one, Learning Path A, focuses on 3 topics: rights, regulation, and security. This path reminds us that the AI governance is not something abstract, but something very practical and something that we need to focus on very specifically. It's also about whether institutions can remain strong enough while incorporating AI into their practices to protect the people they're designed to serve. Learning Path B focuses on 3 other topics, and these include fairness, privacy, and welfare. These readings remind us that AI systems do not enter a neutral world. The path asks us, I think, one of the most important questions of this course, and that is not whether AI simply works, but the more important question is, who does AI work for? Under what conditions does AI work for these people, and with what consequences for who AI works for and also who AI does not work for? Learning Path C turns to institutions and public life, and it consists of 5 main subtopics. These are labor automation, education, the military, misinformation, and also creative rights. The labor readings asks how generative AI is going to be transforming and reorganizing work in the future. The educational materials explore both the promises and the risks of AI in learning and in the classroom. The readings on the military explore both the promise and the risks of AI in warfare, and we recognize that AI is already heavily involved and deeply connected to military planning and responsibility. And the final readings on misinformation and creative rights focuses on copyright issues and urgent questions regarding truth, the ownership of creative rights, and also trust in a world of generative AI systems. This path makes it very clear that AI is not just changing machines, it's changing the institutions through which we live. The final learning path takes us to China, and we consider China's AI plan for the future. This path really works to broaden our perspective by showing that AI is a geopolitical story. China's national AI strategy works very hard to connect artificial intelligence to economic development, state power, and also global leadership. And this learning path reminds us that AI history is not just about AI pioneers or machines or even companies. It's also about nations and regions and the global technological order. Now, after you get through the reading materials this week, we will jump into the discussion question, and I want you to return directly to the central question of this course, and that is, does the history of AI matter? And I'd like you to take a clear position on this. The history of AI matters greatly, it matters somewhat, or it matters less than many people assume. And then I want you to explain your position, why. I also want you to identify which of the week's major voices you found most persuasive. That would be Harari's voice, the cautious one, suggesting that AI is dangerous. Dario or Daniela's vision from Anthropic, suggesting a very hopeful vision for the future of humans alongside AI. Or the Ray Kurzweil perspective, suggesting that AI will become more intelligent than humans in the future, and that humans and machines will find some way to merge beyond our biological limitations. So, which of these 3 visions of AI do you most agree with, and how does your understanding of AI's history shape that judgment? So, as you make your case in the discussion board, think about what historical perspective helps us see that a purely technical or present-minded view might miss. In other words, how does the role of history play a factor in helping us to identify what our future should become? So, does the history of AI make you more cautious? Does it make you more hopeful, more critical? Or Do we become more aware of recurring patterns when we study the past and the ways that humans have over millennia thought about and hoped for intelligent machines or artificial life? And as you look back across the course, reflect on which of the themes now seem most important to you that you might want to pay more attention to in the future. The discussion is also designed to help you prepare for the Week 8 final assignment. Now, in this assignment, what we're going to be doing is you're going to ask 3 different AI systems the exact same question. And that question is this: is the history of AI important? Why or why not? And as a reminder, you can find links to 13 different AI tools in the course overview and introduction section of the class. So whatever 3 tools you select, you will compare their responses and then develop your own answer based on this week's readings and, of course, the broader course materials from the previous 7 weeks. The important thing is that you ask each system the exact question first without changing the wording and without any follow-up questions. That way you can compare and contrast their responses fairly. In your short paper, then, you will identify the 3 tools that you used, summarize or briefly quote their answers, compare where they agree and differ, explain which response seemed most useful or convincing, and then offer your own answer based on our readings and our experiences the past 7 weeks in the course. I'd also like you to include screenshots of the initial answers from the AI tools. So in many ways, the final assignment and our final discussion brings together the most important and major themes of the course, reflecting on why AI history matters. At the same time, it asks you to practice critical AI literacy with our hands-on activities this week. Addressing three different AI tools and evaluating how they work, compare and contrast across one single question. And as we conclude the course, I hope this week leaves you with one central insight that I've already touched on in this discussion. The history of AI is not just the history of machines becoming more capable. The history of AI is also, just as importantly, the history of human beings imagining intelligence. It's the history of how humans have projected hopes and fears onto machines. It's the history of building institutions around new and incredible technical powers of artificial intelligence. And it's also the history of struggling over what should and what should not be delegated to non-human systems in the future. And again, going back to our 3 visionary idealists, Harari warns that AI could destabilize truth and democracy. Dario and Daniela from Anthropic suggest that it could help unlock extraordinary gains in human beings in the future. And of course, Kurzweil argues that AI may actually transform human life so deeply that humans and machine intelligence begins to merge. So whether you find these visions inspiring, alarming, overstated, frightening, hopeful, they all point to the same conclusion. The future of AI is not simply a technical question. The future of AI is a historical question, a political one, and one with deep human meanings. And that's why the history of AI, and hopefully this course, matters for the future of the human race. So I've enjoyed interacting with you over the past 7 weeks, and I look forward to exploring this final week with you in the discussion boards.